All right, we are moving on now. We have some breaking inputs coming in. As far as the West Asia situation is concerned, a big statement there coming in from Donald Trump, the US president, who says Israel-Iran must immediately stop shooting. So that's the big message coming in from Donald Trump, who's urging restraint. Ceasefire push amid rising Middle East tensions, amid fresh attacks that have taken place and retaliations as well. Donald Trump is asking both Israel and Iran to show restraint and to stop shooting immediately. We'll try and connect with our reporters as well. Earlier, remember, Donald Trump also spoke to Benjamin Netanyahu, asking him to practice restraint. That conversation, in fact, and the information related to that went pretty viral, with details coming to fore as such that Donald Trump was very harsh when he spoke to Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu about the West Asia war. And now we're given to understand is urging restraint to be practiced by both Iran and Israel, who have exchanged fire. Beirut was targeted. Israel continued to bomb Iran. There was retaliation as well. Benjamin Netanyahu was requested by Donald Trump to not retaliate to the attacks that are taking place, the fresh attacks from Iran's side. Let's go across to Mayank. He's getting us more details. Now, Donald Trump is trying to undo the damage that was inflicted by him and Israel in the first place. He says, immediately stop shooting.
The significant part is that operations have already been carried out, and it was a wider, the operations had, included multiple cities, and that also included, to the extent of strategic significance, Kharg Island too. So what you see is actually a larger, a major operations has already been carried out, and as far as coming to Lebanon, Israel had been carrying out continuously, non-stop operations on them. The statements coming out by the president is interesting in the sense that larger damage has already been done. But then let us hope that Israel understands and agrees to the kind of conditions or the way the president of US has made his statement. Because had it been so, in the past also there had been lots of, several times that President Trump has asked Israel not to carry out operations on Lebanon too. So let us wait and watch. And as far as retaliation is concerned, Iran had been able to not only launch missiles on Israel, it has also hit US air base in Saudi Arabia too. So it might pan out in a different manner if things go out of control. But then let us hope and wait and watch, and at least for some more time, unless things settle down and both sides come out with some kind of an official statement.
All right, Mayank, do stay on with us. In fact, let's take our viewers one by one through the videos that have come to fore, the visuals that we are putting out on the screens for our viewers. Scenes of celebration in Tehran as missiles flew overhead towards Israel. The crowd erupted in cheers as the announcement was made that Israel has been attacked. Let's take a look. Well, there are other videos as well. Anger is boiling over the streets, on the streets of Iran. Thousands of Iranians poured out in protest, raising anti-Israel slogans and calling for retaliation. Demonstrators demanded final blow against Israel, with some also calling for revenge for the death of their supreme leader. While Israel Defense Forces stated that all the missiles were intercepted and no damage was reported, Iran fact-checked Israel and put out videos showing a huge explosion in Israel. So there are visuals coming in from Beirut to Tehran. The escalation continues. The situation has turned ugly once again. It's tense. As soon as Iran attacked Israel, US President Donald Trump dialed Israeli Prime Minister and requested him not to retaliate. Benjamin Netanyahu agreed, but within minutes, explosions rocked western and central Iran. Iran's capital, Tehran, and the cities of Tabriz and Isfahan came under attack as Israel's military launched attacks on the country. Let's go across to Mayank, who continues to be with us on the broadcast. Now, before this conversation where Donald Trump was urging Benjamin Netanyahu to practice restraint and to not retaliate, before that as well, he's had a conversation that went viral when the details came to fore of him having used expletives during that conversation, which in fact goes on to show that, on one hand, Donald Trump is talking about a deal with Iran. He is, of course, also warning Iran at the same time, but he clearly didn't expect this sort of escalation.
The interesting point is the way the thing multiple strands of negotiating techniques have been used during this ceasefire agreement and the way the talks are moving forward between Iran and US. What I mean to say is actually, psychological pressures, threats, even in between intermittent operations were also launched on the southern part of Iran, and then Iran had also retaliated by firing missiles on UAE, Kuwait, and all. So what you see is actually, you see different forms of negotiations and threats are being employed, so that at least US is able to eke out the maximum from Iran, and Iran is also doing the same. That they are also giving sort of a tit for tat, and they had been, launching missile attacks. So it becomes an interesting case study the way the things have moved in West Asia, and the Operation Epic Fury has been conducted. And after that, since April of 8th April, the negotiations have been taking place between US and Iran through Pakistan. So it becomes an interesting case study.
It's also clear who's calling the shots. I want to go across to Srinjoy Chaudhary joining us on the broadcast as well. Srinjoy, Donald Trump said, I call the shots. He asked Netanyahu not to retaliate and in fact make a deal. It's very clear that Mr. Netanyahu at the moment isn't paying any heed. And who's calling the shots?
At the end of the day, is there fighting going on or is there not? And fighting is going on while the very tenuous ceasefire still holds. Now, why is there this fighting? First of all, the Hezbollah has these newfangled drones which are harder to intercept. And naturally, they've hit targets in northern Israel. So Israel has hit back and hit targets in southern Lebanon and also Beirut. Now, Beirut is a civilian area. Now, this is something that the Lebanese and the Israelis had spoken about in the past and arrived at an agreement. Now, the Hezbollah are allied to the Iranians. So once this happens, the Iranians say, well, you've hit our allies, we'll hit you. And the Iranians have done just that, which is why the Israelis have struck back. So this is something that is going on and on. Now this comes completely against President Trump's idea of a peace agreement. Now if this is against a peace agreement because President Trump wants it, then very well. What happens? Will the peace hold? Will it not hold? So far there is still a ceasefire. The Americans have not got involved. But if there is another round of all this, it is entirely possible that the ceasefire will break. And then you have all these problems that will come up. Price of gasoline in America, price of crude oil all over the world, then attacks on Iranian infrastructure, counterattacks on Gulf infrastructure and Israeli infrastructure. It could get much, much worse.
Absolutely, and add to the existing complications as far as the peace talks are concerned. Srinjoy and Mayank, thank you very much for getting us the details. With that, we're slipping into a very short break. A lot more is lined up for you on the other side.